So the glass water feature project is one of those projects that just had me so nervous. I don't get nervous on many projects, but this one really kind of took the cake. Not because it was a water feature or that it was big, but it's mainly because of the glass. It was a huge piece of glass, larger than I've ever dealt with. It was 7 feet wide, 99 inches tall. Although it was tempered, still it's glass. And I literally held my breath until I got the glass installed in the client's house. And it wasn't until I looked back on the project that I realized that it's projects like this that have made me who I am today. Knowledge, skill, confidence. And I believe that if you are able to take on projects that make you nervous, make you kind of hold your breath, I think that it will help you level up your game as well. Let me explain. There's a quote from Jocko Willink that I keep pinned to the back of my mind that says, "There's no growth in the comfort zone." It's the idea that we grow more when we step out of our comfort zone. A good example is me TIG welding. I remember about 4 or 5 years ago, I received a TIG welding machine as a gift. I think it was birthday or Christmas or something like that. My point is, I didn't open the box to the TIG welder for a little over a year. I think because I was afraid of getting into something that I didn't know anything about. And TIG welding is a very precise welding process. And if any of you know me or have seen some of my work, I'm not a very precise person. I would lovingly be called rustic. I was a MIG welding guy. And at that time, I was a flux core MIG welding guy. TIG welding scared me for some reason. However, once I started building water features on a more regular basis, I realized in order to level up my game and compete with some of the larger companies, my water features needed stainless water basins. So, one day I came into the shop, cracked open the box, pulled out the TIG machine, and plugged that sucker in, and I started practicing. My first several attempts were horrific, and my X-brain was confirming my earlier thoughts of how terrible I would be at this. That this is definitely not a welding process I want to get myself involved in. If I had to describe the TIG welds that I put on my first water basin, I would have to say blobular, runny, burnt boogers. For the longest time, I would throw a light behind the weld, and so many little pinholes would be exposed. It was amazingly depressing, but I kept practicing. But here's the point. Starting to TIG weld took me outside of my comfort zone, and because of my stubbornness and my persistence and determination, I added to my skill set. I was able to level up my game by putting myself into an uncomfortable, challenging position. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not laying dimes when I TIG weld, even today. I feel I still need to go a long way with regards to dialing in my TIG welding skills. However, I now have the confidence to weld a stainless basin, put it in somebody's house, and know that it's not going to leak and cause problems down the road for the client or myself. Nowadays, if there's a skill that you want to learn or you feel uncomfortable about learning, there is a plethora of information out there to help you guide you along your way and to help you reach your goal. So that even in that uncomfort zone, you are comforted by a tutorial that you can pull up simply by pushing the play button. Another key factor I believe that is important to personal and professional growth is just say yes. Have enough confidence in your own skills, or at least in your ability to learn necessary skills, that when a client approaches you with a project that you may have never completed or never attempted, that you can say, yes, I'll do that for you. I know that we as humans are really good at making excuses why we don't move forward or why we don't step out of the comfort zone. That excuse can be a number of things. I don't have the right tools. I don't have the right space. I don't have the time. I would love to do this, but I can't. Again, those are just excuses. Find the time, find the space, borrow the tools. If you want it bad enough, you will do whatever it takes. Listen, one of my very first paid metal projects was in Sedona, Arizona for a restaurant called the Red Planet Diner. The owner approached me and asked if I could build a metal spaceship for the front of the diner. Keep in mind, At that time in my life, I was living in a school bus. The only welder I had was a 110 flux core welder, and my shop was under a 10 by 10 pop-up tent. But I was confident enough in the few skills that I did have that I could build a metal flying saucer. And so I said yes to the project. I also have another reminder that is a tattoo on my forearm that says, "Take the leap." Listen, we have one shot at this thing called life, and sometimes you just have to jump into the unknown in order to level up your game. When the client approached me about creating this glass water feature, and I double-checked local glass suppliers just to see if I can even get a glass the size that I needed for this project, I knew that I was going to have to call upon all three of these guidelines in my life. I knew that I was going to be stepping out of my comfort zone because I had never done a glass water feature this large. I also knew that it was going to be a leap of faith into this project, but I trusted myself and the skills that I have to know that I could pull it off. And so my response to the client was a simple yet confident, "Yes, I can build that for you." Although I wasn't 100% on how I was going to accomplish this task, I immediately got to work and started drawing the project. For me, the glass was the big unknown. And like they say, the majority of fear comes from the unknown. By the end of this project, and after the glass had been successfully installed, I knew that I had unlocked a new skill and had leveled up in my game of life. And as a bonus to this project, the client was extremely happy with the result. And realistically, I would have never known if I could do it if I didn't try. So this is the point of the whole video. Step out of your comfort zone. Take a leap of faith and say yes to things even if you've never done them before. And if you're one of those people who have already challenged yourself in that way, I'm curious about your story. What project were you working on? What was that one thing that puts you in the uncomfort zone? What's the one task where you had to take that leap of faith? I hope this video has been somewhat of an inspiration for you to level up your game. As far as the glass water feature goes, out of all the water features that I have built, this is definitely in the top 3, and one that I am most proud of. I look forward to the next challenge. See you guys in the next video.